welcome. Thank you so much for hitting play, and I'm so excited to talk to Thompson Square who's here. Thanks for coming in, Keifer and Shawna.
Thanks for having us.
So here's the deal. You had this album that came out, Masterpiece, and so now you get a label that jumps into it and a single, which is the title track. But when you brought a fully produced, really good sounding album, were they just like freaking out? Like, what was the reaction when they knew you guys were out there and you'd produced this piece of work?
Well, honestly, when we found ourselves in that little bit of an independent pond there for a little bit, and one thing that we always wanted to do is kind of go back to how it was before we ever got a record deal and just create an album on our own terms and write the songs, not have anybody saying, hey, you have to cut this song, you have to cut this song, you have to use this producer, you got to use this player. And so it was kind of fun just to be able to go, who do you want to use on this? It's like, well, I've always wanted to work with Dan Huff and Nathan Chapman. And so yeah, we just put it together, and we had the independent mindset, which we've always had, but we had the mindset of like, we're going to do our thing. And then this new label kind of came into the works. And normally in Nashville, what would happen if artists would come to the label with a project? They go, oh, that's cute. That's cute. You did that all on your own. That's very cute.
Now we'll bring in the experts.
And now we're going to recut all those songs and make them worse.
Right.
And with Reviver, it wasn't the case. And they were very excited about the project and all the side projects that we had
Found ourselves
started embarking on. And they're so open-minded and just wide-scaled. There's no blinders on these people, and they're just super great people and just are cool with us doing whatever, and it's really great.
When you were in that independent space and putting in, as you said, you didn't have people, suggesting players and producers.
It's a nice word, suggesting.
Yeah. Did it slow down the or was it, almost like a dog on a leash all the time? Not that you guys are dogs, but you take a dog off a leash, sometimes they don't run. Like, was that more difficult in a way to say, we're used to getting this kind of feedback?
No, I don't think
I think we were off to the races. We were like, I don't know, it was just crazy. We were so excited to be able to make music again because we hadn't been able to for a while. So we went straight to work.
Yeah, and it's funny because there's two of the songs that are on this record that were recorded with Dan Huff 3 years prior, and just sitting there, just like to the point of we had to open them back up and remix them and change some things and everything else to kind of make it
update them a bit.
Fit
just because production techniques change and
I took Shawna completely out of it. It just made it better, all the way around. Took her face off the cover. That didn't stick.
So when you get in the studio and you make this album and you've got tracks that you had to redo, but then obviously you have a son that comes along. How did having a child and just being parents affect your creative process? Because I would imagine, 5 years ago or whatever, you get an idea, no matter what, you'd be in a coffee shop, whatever, and then you would just spend the rest of the day working on it. And that's not the reality of your lives now. How did you maneuver that?
Cooper was tons of inspiration. Like, we had things to write about. As a songwriter, that's what you hope for, is something that'll inspire you to sit down and write your feelings on a piece of paper. And Keifer did that with Masterpiece. That's where it came from.
This whole album was finished, and I woke up like 5:30 and had that word in my head, and I was like, "What does that mean?" I got up and typed it on my phone. Tried to go back to sleep, and it was just like, hey, why don't you get back up and write this song? And so I finally got up and just started kind of thinking about what that meant to me, and it was like, what's the best thing? I think anyone's masterpiece is probably the best thing they've done in their life that they'll never be able to outdo. They'll always be remembered for. And I think for me at that time, and still, it's like my son was definitely the masterpiece in my life. And out of everything else that we've done, I hope I'm more known for that and carry on those things that my dad taught me, and et cetera. So I sat down and wrote it, and Shawna got out of bed, around 2:30 or 3 in the afternoon.
Oh my gosh, would you stop?
With a Bloody Mary still in her hand. I played it for her, and I looked up, and she had tears in her eyes, and I was like, "What, is it that bad?" And she was like, "No." She goes, "This is my favorite song you've ever written." Yeah. And I think we need to call the album that, and we have to go back in the studio and cut this one.
Wow.
So that's what happened. I mean, it was,
It was called Life, I think,
Life.
before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read somewhere.
which was like just kind of a cross section of our life over the
Just
last
stuff that had
35 years.
happened.
Yeah.
Good and bad and ugly, you know, it's all in there.
It's pretty presumptive of putting out an album that's called Masterpiece. You know, when I saw Masterpiece, like, ooh, but obviously now
Yeah.
you know the story of it. When you shaped, did it change anything else on the album? I mean, when you're like, okay, if everything's gonna fall under this, or did
Well,
you?
It was
didn't
kind of
all
like
tracks.
the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
It was like that one song that the album needed.
Yeah,
You know?
definitely. I thought the album was great as it was, and but it is. It's like when you think it's done, and then something else comes in. It's like, hey, this makes it even better. That's why you never stop looking for songs. You know, you look for songs and you write songs up into the last possible minute. An album never gets done. You just run out of time or money.
Yeah.
You know, it's really kind of what it boils down to. And
We've heard stories a lot from other artists too that last song that comes in at the last minute, like it's the one, you know, like Lady A, Need You Now. That was one of the very last songs they recorded for that album, and it was
You hear that from
crazy
so many
huge.
artists, and it makes me wonder. Well, what if you'd waited another month or two? Like, what would have been that next song?
and that's the time thing I'm
Yeah.
talking about. You just kind of have to stop and go, you know what's good?
Yeah.
It's all right. It's good.
The album is
Let
just.
it go.
You say Dan Huff, and it's just got such an interest. I know there's other producers on it
Yeah.
too, but like a reggae song, like Good Day. I did the only thing sound like it, like almost this alt rock sort of bass line thing, and I love like this that I really got into. It's so diverse. I mean, was it tempting to just say, well, we got this third album, we've been away for a while, let's just do right down the middle radio songs and
Man, you know, I didn't know, and Sean didn't know what would happen after we asked out of that deal. We had no idea what was going to happen. So, not knowing what's going to happen, we just decided to do a record that we wanted to do, and
That's all we can do, really. We just
I mean, can we write songs at 120 BPM that talk about this, that? Yeah, sure. I mean, everyone in town's doing that, but it
Little
just
snap.
Yeah, man, and not that it's bad. I don't want it to be misconstrued, because I really love a lot of the new country music that's out there. I think it's really great and brilliant, and sounds great, and gets everybody going. But you know, you just as Thompson Square, I mean, there's a certain expectation, you know, from your fans, and it's not biting heads off bats and that sort of thing, you know. So you just have
Nobody
to.
has taken that lane though for a while.
I know, man.
If you guys want
I'm not opposed to trying. I like protein, but you know, we just tried to make the record a record that we were proud of, you know, and it kind of showcases the best thing of being a masterpiece and the worst thing in our life that's happened as breakers. And then we had a lot of fun, and we're reggae nuts, you know, and we're also rock and roll nuts. And it's interesting, like a Love Like This. There's some a lot of those drums are mono. Which gives you that kind of U2, you know, kind of feel of it's not all spacey and super spread out and everything else like a country record would be.
Right.
So only the most trained ear would hear that. So
Thank you
nice
very
job.
much.
I think it showcases how eclectic the music that we love is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
it's
does.
it's really, and then the album ends with Breakers, which I know was a big moment and some drama that was going on in your family. But the line that caught my ear too is that some people are fixers and some people are breakers. And I thought, I wonder if she means like that's the role you play, like that's just your natural, or do those
nature.
roles change, or is it nature versus nurture? Is that what we're talking about?
I think it's more of a nature thing. Some people are just good at making things work, working things out, and some people aren't.
I mean, some
mean?
people just their positive in life is the negative in which they live. You know, and it's really a sad existence for someone who doesn't live that way, but you know, there's people who fight in order to exist with each other. It's a yin and yang thing, and it's a very interesting. That was one of the most interesting first lines of a song I think that we've ever written. But that concept is just there's two kinds of people. Color doesn't matter. You're either good or you're bad. The way I kind of look at the world, and you know, some people will want to lift you up when you're down and keep raising you when you're not down, and some people just want to see you down to lift themselves up.
Yeah.
And the farther down you can get, the better they feel. And some people just want to keep on shoving you farther and farther down the dirt, so they feel better and better and better.
I'm sure you see that on social media all the time.
Well, that's what.
I feel like that's what social media is all about.
That's what it is. You know, my life sucks. Let's find someone who's worse, so I can feel better about myself. Which there's some logic to that as well. It's always nice to know that you're not the only one sucking at the time. You're not in the fight by yourself, but at the same time, you know, it's.
I mean, I know what I didn't expect with people on social media, trolls, whatever. Like that they see it as a sort of feather in their cap to get blocked or banned or something. I thought, isn't that so weird? That's the way you sort
a goal.
A goal of yours.
Well, it's weird that their existence, you know. We sound like old guys in here bitching about the internet. But back in my day. But it's interesting too. Like a lot of millennials and stuff see the value in old school and unplugging, and kind of going back to that free enterprise way of life of living. We met a couple here the other day that they're 24, 25. They were married, living in their car, or doing a travel blog and making a living. Mm-hmm. They weren't working for anybody else, and they weren't asking. It's just an interesting concept of what's kind of going on with everything.
It's a different way. You guys, speaking of doing things differently and as a couple, I mean, for whatever reason in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, Thompson Square, they're one of the married acts. I'm like, oh wait, no, there aren't.
They're the only married act.
We are the married act.
The only married act. I guess the question I wanted to ask was that you, at least in your job, have the same highs and the same lows. And so there isn't this yin and yang. And I mean, you can obviously help each other. You understand that. But it's not like, sometimes if I go home and my girlfriend is in a much better mood than I am, then that'll help.
Right.
But how do you balance that out, or who do you lean on to?
Wow. Right now it's Cooper. I mean, you give him a squeeze, and that usually takes a lot of your pressure away. But it's such a strange. I don't think people understand the gravity of how Thompson Square exists, because it's such an interesting concept to not only find someone that you can sing with and sound good with, but someone that you also love, and then someone you are best friends with, and then you can coexist with. I mean, we're literally together all the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it's
for
not
20 years.
You didn't meet in the group.
No.
You met, and then I mean, it's been
we
this
met,
way
and
from the
6 years
beginning.
later we formed.
Honestly, we don't. We can't put our finger on what it is that makes it work. It just does. I think a lot of it is Keifer's humor, because I can't stay mad at him because he makes me laugh. But yeah, it's just.
We have barn burners too, though, dude. I mean, we can fight. We're both very Irish. So we know how to. We can throw down. I mean, this one over here. Woo, she can
When's the last time that you were having a heated discussion about something, like maybe right before a show, and then literally walked on stage? And lovey-dovey.
Well, that happens all the
And then
time.
back to the fight right after.
Well,
That's like nightly.
the answer to that is, when's the last show we had? That happens all the time, and usually it's like Shawna going, I remember last time when you did this song, don't talk before Masterpiece, we're going to do this. And I'm just like, you don't know what you're talking about. We got a single, we got to talk about it, And then it's like, words are exchanged, and then we're like, hey, everybody, how you doing,
And usually if we do have a little fight or whatever, it's about the set list or something really dumb.
Yeah.
Set list or sex or stuff like that, just stupid stuff.
Minor relationship.
Just minor
details,
things, It's the same. I mean, we're married. The one thing that I don't like about being married, and lots, but I don't like about being like a married couple duo, that just everything's together. So exactly what you said. You're all doing this.
Yeah.
And there's no one else that, like, if you're having a crap day, like, someone's going to lift you up. I mean, so you just kind of define it. And
we have each other to get through, though.
One of us tries to, all right, now listen, I know it sucks. I'm hurting too, and we're going to do this together. So that's kind of interesting. But you never get to miss the other person, which is a really odd thing when you think about it. When you're away and you come home, you're like, hey, I missed you all day or whatever. We never. It's like, you're here still, You're still coming home, aren't you? So,
when's the most time you spent apart in the last 5 years?
A week, maybe? 20 years.
20 years, yeah.
Probably, yeah. I mean, we haven't been apart more than a week.
I was
And
just
that's
saying
been
with
a
the
while.
when the
That
baby
was-
came in.
With the baby, now we got this European tour coming up, man, and we finally decided to leave him at home for 2 weeks, and that's been a tough one for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing Germany and the UK, and which I
Ireland,
read, is this-
Amsterdam.
you've
Scotland.
never been played over there, is that
Mhm.
right? How is that even
Never.
possible?
Well, let me tell you. Let's not get into that.
We've
We're
wanted
here to
to
be
for
happy.
a long time.
I was having a great day till I talked to you about this, and now I'm totally depressed.
No, we've been to Greece and we've performed in Greece, and we've been to Italy, but that was the same trip, but we didn't perform. But never been in the UK before.
Yeah,
so.
well, every time we tried to do it, honest, just in a nutshell, we just got talked out of it.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't have distribution over there from our label, and so there was no one knew who we were, and everyone was like, "Oh, you're gonna go over there and you're gonna lose money." I was like, "I get that, but we want to go start
Right.
building it." Because I'm telling you, everyone's gonna start going over there. Well, fast forward 4 years, everybody has gone over there a million times and started to build a business. You know.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we're kind of late bloomers, but again, with this new thing that we're at now, I mean, everyone's like, yeah, why wouldn't you do that?
Why wouldn't you? Really? I mean, it's just, and you guys seem to be artists that are able to enjoy where you are too, because I know a lot of times it's get on the bus, go to the next city, wake up, and then. But you obviously, I'm sure you have plans to see. Have you built in a couple travel days or?
I wish, man, this is all
We
work.
don't. That's another thing that Cooper has kind of forced us into doing is when we're in a city, we try to take him and keep him entertained. So we go out and enjoy whatever town we're in with him. So
I mean, even though it's crazy life, I mean, we do get to spend more time with our kid than most parents do. You know, they're gone. They get up in the morning before the kid gets up, you know, and then they go to school all day, comes home, it's dinner, and they're in bed at 6, and you see him maybe for an hour or two a day, you know, and we get to see ours a lot. I mean, he goes to school, but he's home at 3, and on the weekends, you know, and if we need to keep him out, we can. And
What's his latest thing he's doing? What's his new thing?
Oh,
Kids always
man.
got a new thing.
He's been, the Bohemian Rhapsody is
Oh,
his
gosh.
new thing.
wearing
he
it
loves
out.
the Bohemian Rhapsody, and he knows.
It is the cutest thing you've ever seen.
He knows
though.
about all of it.
Yeah.
To sing it, and it's really interesting to see him gravitate toward that. But he loves playing drums. He started sneaking in and playing mom and dad's piano every once in a while.
We've been having him. He comes out on stage before we sing Masterpiece, and we just let him do whatever he wants to do. And he's been singing the ABCs for everybody lately. So that's
yeah.
kind of.
Which that was
Same.
like one of those moments in my life where I was like, "Don't you cry, don't you cry."
The first time we did it, it was
Because
pretty
we were on
awesome.
an Air Force base, and so you had a couple thousand people out there that served the country, and you know, Cooper, he's not shy at all. You know,
Yeah.
he's just like me.
I have no idea where he gets that from.
And then he said, "You want to come and sing?" He's got his headphones on. He comes running out as hard as he can, and so he starts singing the ABCs. And as soon as he starts singing, 2,000 people start singing back to him, and I'm just going over there going.
And he kept singing. He didn't let
He
it.
just
Didn't
kept-
throw him off.
No, man, he just kept plowing, and he got done. He was like, "Thank you," and I was like, "Oh my god!" You know, they just blew the roof off the place. You know, so we're very blessed, man. We are very fortunate to be able to have our family on the road all the time. You know, and it's about the best situation I could have.
He likes introducing us on the plane too.
He does
That's
that
his
too.
Thing. Yeah.
Nice. That's great. Well,
It's
thanks.
embarrassing.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for coming in.
You're welcome,
Thanks,
man.
good to have you
Thanks for the
guys
time.
back.
Yeah.
Good to see
Thompson
you.
Square, the new album is Masterpiece, the new single as well.